If you have been watching these sections in order, you will have been listening to me talk and watching me point at things. So I'd like to change things up a little bit and start getting a bit of hands-on experience with our digital audio workstation, the tool that we will be using to produce our own music, BandLab. So hopefully you've set up an account in BandLab. So if you head on over to that, what I've got here is my BandLab home screen. So this is just me going over to bandlab.com on my browser. When I want to start making music, I head over here and I click Create. Clicking Create brings up this little menu down here, and I click New Project. And I just have to wait for it to load. And then it brings me up a range of choices for my new project. So let's just run through these for a minute or so. The first one enables me to record voice or audio, basically any sound that I can record using a microphone. So I would plug a microphone in, either sing or play an instrument and record that. Drum machine allows you to start a new project, and it includes a drum machine in your project, so you can immediately start by creating some beats. I often use that. That's pretty useful. We'll probably use that later. If you have a guitar, an electric guitar, you can plug the guitar into your computer using a guitar lead to USB adapter and record your guitar in BandLab. So you can start with a guitar track. Same thing over here with the bass. Plug a bass guitar into your computer and start recording. Sampler allows you, as it says, to turn any sound into an instrument, so you can record a sound or download a sound and use that to create a tune. We're going to start with instruments. Basically, in this course, we're going to use one of two settings. We're going to use the drum machine, or we're going to use instruments. So we are going to use instruments. So I just click on Instruments, and this is what I get. First things first, let's do some housekeeping. Firstly, we need to name our project. I'll just call this my tune. Call yours what you want. Down here, we talked earlier about counting beats. This is the equivalent to our key signature that we had before. So if I just go into our music, London Bridge is Falling Down, we have 4 beats to the bar, if you remember, and a quarter note gets a beat. That's what it looks like in our notation. And this is what we set up in BandLab. We can tell from our notation here that we're in the key of C major. We'll talk a little bit later on how we can get that information from our score. But for now, let's just go back into BandLab and set our key, which we do here, to C major. And that completes our introductory housekeeping, and we're ready to start working on our piece. What I'd like to do now is take a tour of our workspace here. It's divided into a few areas. If we take a look at these numbers, these are our bars. So these are the equivalent to these things in our notation. Okay, 1 bar here, 1 bar here, 1 bar here. We've all seen that before. Over here, we can add tracks. We can add as many tracks as we want, and we can choose, by clicking on this menu here, what kind of instrument we want. Okay, look at the range of choice that we have. And more on that later. It's given us as a default the grand piano, which is there. Okay, so we're going to stick with the grand piano at the moment. Down here, this bottom section of the screen is where we do our work. Okay, we create musical snippets in this section. We bring them up here to add them to our overall piece. To add more instruments or to add more tracks, we click here. It asks us what kind of track we want. I'm going to do virtual instrument. We choose what instrument we want, and we have a new track. So you can see here I've got my first instrument, which appeared when we started our project, and we have our second instrument here that I've just added. And as I've said, you can rename your instruments by double clicking. And if you click on these three dots here, this brings up a menu and you can do what I'm going to do here, delete the track, because I'm only going to work with this first track. I'll scroll down. So as I said, you can just double click to rename it. I'm going to call this tune. There are various naming conventions you can use to name your tracks, but as we're going to keep things pretty simple here, I'm just going to call that tune. And now I'm going to set about putting my tune into BandLab. Looking at this a second, we have a piano keyboard. This is our grand piano down here. You will notice there are a few choices here. We can choose our octave. We can choose what kind of scale we use, but we haven't talked about scales yet. I'm in the key of C there, but that's not really relevant because of the mode we're in. What I'd like you to look at are these keys. So we've got our white notes, we've got our black notes. You will notice there are letters. Yours might be different if you're in a different country to the UK, but these correspond to letters on our keyboard. So we can actually play a scale using our computer keys. To play a tune. We can actually record that tune, and BandLab gives us a number of good facilities for producing that tune and making it sound good. But we're not going to do that in this course. We are going to do something else. We're going to come down here and click on where it says MIDI editor. So click on that. Right, and that gives us, again, a piano keyboard, but this time it is a vertical piano keyboard. C4 is what we want, so that's middle C on the piano, so that's about halfway down the piano keyboard. What I'd like to do now is just have a little bit of practice at what we've learned so far. So we need to learn a bit more theory before we can compose our own music, create our own music, and put it into BandLab and produce it in BandLab. So what I'd like to do now is go back to where we were, which is our nursery rhyme, and practice reading music and get our heads around this counting, make sure we really know it, and by doing that, learn how BandLab works. Okay? So I'm going to start in the first bar. Perhaps you can work out what these notes say. It would be great if you could go as far as you could in this without me saying anything. So if at any point in this section you feel you don't need to listen to me anymore and you can complete the task on your own, please feel free to stop and go ahead and do it on your own. If not, just follow me through. All I'm going to do is put this tune into BandLab and I will start now. Okay, so what's this note here? Every green. So we've got G, A, G, F, and these are all quarter notes, are they? They're black in the middle. So we've got 4 quarter notes, G, A, G, F. Let's put those into BandLab. Here is the beginning of our tune. So you'll see the bar lines match. So we've got first bar, second bar, third bar, fourth bar. Down here, we can choose our default note, and we just add our notes by double clicking on these sections here. These sections correspond directly to the keys on the piano. So that one there is C, that one there is the black notes, so the dark ones are the black notes, which are the sharps and flats, and then they correspond as we go up to our keys. So our first note is, I've already forgotten, let's check. Our first note is a G. So if you remember, we start at E on the line, F in the gap, G, or we can use our every green bus drives fast or every good bunny deserves fudge, a G. We know that from the treble clef, and the treble clef also tells us that that is the G above middle C. So let's go and put the G above middle C into BandLab. Back to BandLab. C, D, E, F, G. And I double click to add my note. There it is. but it's a 16th note. And what I want is a quarter note. So I just go down on my menu, click 1/4. All right. But that was a 16th note because it didn't give me the chance to change it. So what I do is if I mouse over it, my cursor changes and I just drag it out to the next line. Okay. So that's a quarter note. You can quite easily see I can fit 4 of those in my bar. Okay, so that's my first G. I've forgotten again. So we're going G, A, G, S. So my next note is an A. So it's just one up for the G. Double click. G, A, G. And then one down. F. So that's our first bar done. If at any point I want to listen to my tune, I drag that back. And that corresponds with that up there. And I just go play. So I'll click on that thing there. And that's the first bar of London Bridge is Falling Down. Okay. And did you hear it gave me a metronome as well to help me count? So that's my metronome up there. If I click on it, it gives me the choice to disable it, but I'm going to keep it up there. Right. I'm going to move to the second bar. Let's have a look at the second bar. Second bar is E, F, G, 2 quarter notes and a half note. Let's do that. So we ended on F, didn't we? Remember that E and F are to the left of the 3 black notes. Okay, so that's E, that's F. So again, let me remind myself. E, F, G. There we go. One before the F, E, F, G. I can change it over here, or I just simply extend it because remember we need a half note. And just playing it again. Okay, press stop. If I press stop, that's play, that stops. If I press stop, it all goes back to the beginning. And let's look at bar 3. Bar 3 is, so bar 2 is E, F, G. Bar 3 is D, E, F again. 2 quarter notes and a half note. So D, E, F, 2 quarter notes and a half note. That's C. So you want to go up. D. And look at what it's done. It's remembered that we put a half note in last. Let's put in another half note. So put that back to a quarter note. So that's D, E, and I put in F. By the way, have I said this? You move your arrow to where you are, where you want your note to go, and you double click. I think I probably forgot to say that, so I'll have to edit something in. Okay, that's bar 3. And let's just finish off the first line. Again, it's a repeat of bar 2. So it is E, F, G. Again, 2 quarter notes and a half note. Remember, find the 3 notes, and then that's our E. And again, it's put a half note in. But as soon as I change it, and that's, as soon as I change it, it remembers what I've done. Okay, so that's my first 4 bars. And if I just go over that. And press stop. Everything goes back to the beginning. Right, so we're on the second line. Let's quickly go through that. You can get the point of doing it. These keys represent the notes. You double click. If I put a note in the wrong place, I just mouse over it and click and drag. So I can actually move it up and down like that. Okay, but back to it. Second line. Well, okay, the first bar of the second line is the same. So we've got G, A, G, F, 4 quarter notes. It'll put a half note in again. E, F, G. Shorten it to a quarter note. F, G. Okay. And then let's have a look. And we got E, F, G, E, F, G. So let's put that in 2 quarter notes and a half note. Find my E by going to the 3, and then it's to the left of it, so it's that one. And then that's a half note. Let's just check. All right, looks good so far. And I'm just scrolling with my mouse pad, with my trackpad here. Okay, so it's for me, I'm using a Mac, and it's 2 fingers on the trackpad to do that. But you just use your mouse. Right, so final 2 bars, and I'm using half notes. So I want D and G. So we go D, E, F in the gap, G, and 2 half notes. 2 half notes. So C's down there, D is there. You'll remember I did a half note. D and already forgotten. D and G. So 3 notes. D, E, F, G. So I've got, and then let's check the last bar. We've got an E and a C, quarter note and a half note. C, C, D, E. Quarter note, and what was it? A C. So that C will be middle C. Okay, I don't need to put the, you'll see here we've got a rest just at the end there. I don't need to put the rest into BandLab. If I just leave a gap, it will play nothing. Okay, let's just press stop to get us back to the end. And this is our tune.